we are having Oleh with us. He's going to demo a new awesome product on Wax that he's been building for the past weeks. You know how it goes. We'll let Oleh finish his demo, and then you can raise your hands and ask questions. I'm also starting a recording for that so that people can recap it. So, hello everyone. Wax Roundtable, December 10th. We have Oleh with us, and he's going to demo a nice new project which is launching on Wax this week.
Yeah. We've been building it actually for now several months, but
sorry to interrupt you, but your audio is a little weird today. You don't sound good.
Okay. Let me just change.
Also adding a mic check on the next roundtable.
Yeah, I think it's AirPods turned on. Now it's good?
Perfect.
All right.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Great. Yeah. I would like to represent wax.fun. Let me share my screen. We've been building it for actually several months in total, as had some reworks and stuff. So this is kind of the fair launch platform, meme coin from fair launch platform, where it's quite similar to PumFun at the moment. However, it will add up some of the features. So let's just talk about. So yeah, first of all, it's quite easy for everyone to create own coin. Call it a meme coin or just a coin through this interface. Let's create some coin. Call it food. We can set up optional fields, and all of these fields are going. We extended EOSIO token smart contract, like default one, with some metadata. So now everything can be read through metadata. But yeah, we can add here. There's links if you want to. Also, we can set up initial buy, which is a way for a token creator to buy initial supply before anyone else, like snipers or bots, will do. Also, right now, as we have a promotion, we'll have a creation of token cost like 0. And it will eventually be around less than $5. So it will be defined in Wax at the time of launch. But it's limited right now for a free. Free token creation is limited to 5 tokens per wallet. Let's say we will buy 1,000. Yeah, all should be good. Okay, we have a token. So once we have a token, it can be traded based on bonding curve. So as you can see, a bonding curve progress was set up due to our initial buy. But we can basically buy more if you want to. sell. I think slippage will be bigger for this buy. Yeah.
While you're showing it, I'm throwing in a question from the chat. What is the bonding curve?
Yeah, one moment. The chart it didn't load yet, but the curve is well, the way it's basically how it's pretty much the same how swaps are working when you have amount of token and amount of wax put into that contract or curve, and it calculates the price dynamically. So basically it's same as Alcor swap or any other swap. Yeah, for some reason I don't see the chart yet, but yeah, I see the buy here.
Is the bonding curve of the pump platform the same as a swap? Because normally I think that something like pump.fun, it goes up like exponentially more costly in price.
It starts from 3.3 a bit more than 3K market cap and goes to 50K market cap. It changes because it takes price of wax at the time of creation. So basically we fix the amount of wax needed to go to 100%. And then basically, so the mass is like the price will vary about 15x from the very beginning to the end to finalizing our bonding curve. So yeah, it's pretty much the same as it work on other platforms like that, and probably like swaps as well, because once we deploy on Alcor, the mass kind of works in there as well. So the prices and things are, when we deploy all of the liquidity in wax and in token which is left, the prices are matching up, and the mass of curve continues to be in there to be the same basically. Yeah, let me check what happens with the chart, if it broken at the moment or not. Yeah. Also, so basically we have every token is created with 1 billion supply, and 800 million is supposed to be sold through this interface, and 200 million is going to be deployed on Alcor, along with the amount of wax sent by users, which might be like I can't recall the amount right now. We can check that. It's less than 10K in USD, basically, to graduate from the wax fund and go into Alcor. So once we have that, the token, when token is graduated, it just there is a link. It's testnet one, so it doesn't go well, but there's no testnet interface. But overall, users will be able to go on Alcor, or here they will be directly trading tokens through Alcor, basically API buying and selling after the curve goes to 100%. Yeah. Here
what is the king of wax progress just below the bonding curve?
Yes, it's yeah, there is one moment. Yeah, once you reach this king of wax, you become visible here, and until another coin won't beat you at that market cap. It's yeah, it's like 50 to 60%, I suppose, of market cap needed to be like king. to become king.
Cool.
Yeah. What else? There are also, there's basically a statement. No, one moment. When token is basically reached 100%, but it's preparing to be listed, so it's basically you cannot trade it. This is this token, so it's kind of frozen at that. So we put this one as example to be in here. Aside of that, we are talking to some of tracking tools. We have a direct chat with decktools.io. They have like over 7 million monthly users, not like twice smaller than Deck Screener, but still like quite good. And they provided us their specification, how to basically implement either on blockchain level or on DEX level. So I sent it to Alcor, send it to Wax team to review, and after launch we may still decide how or who will gonna take part in this project to support, as it will for sure boost the overall Wax tokens visibility on like bigger platforms so there might be traffic. We are about to launch. Tomorrow we'll be on Wax Twitter Spaces. We'll have a lot of things to promote, or a lot of places to promote. Sorry. So there are some other plans. We are planning to have a referral system launched in probably 1 week. So right now it's just a soft launch to see and polish if there are any like visual layout issues or whatever happens. So setting things up right now, and we will announce once it's live or going to be live. Maybe anyone have any question?
Come on, guys, don't be shy. Henrik.
I'm sorry if I missed it, but did you have some sort of like wax detective or bubble map type of visual of who was participating in a launch?
You mean to put in here, so users will like look at bubble maps?
Yeah, like I think on pump.fun they have a bubble chart under each token that is launched, so that somebody can go into a specific launch and then see that, okay, the biggest holder has maybe 4%, and his wallet is connected to another wallet that has 3%, and so on.
Yeah, bubble map is not yet there. There is a distribution of token holders here, so you can look at basically let's say like bonding curve and the other holders like creator and the other holders. So you basically look at that. Bubble map might be added later probably upon request, because we still have some stuff to do. We want to do several things, and also work towards marketing stuff initially more than all of the features at once,
We have another question from Nick.
Yeah, hi. Something I noticed is that when you click around, there's lots of loading every time. Have you looked into having like a little bit of local state so that it doesn't have to pull all the data over and over again?
Yeah, didn't do that yet, but definitely planning. At least on the homepage, we see that, and as well as here.
Anyone else with a remark, question, feedback? Henrik.
I just wondered now, why is the default showing the trading history before the comments for the charts? That's a bit unusual compared to the rest of the pump.fun platform, at least.
Good one. I think that can be changed. Probably, yeah.
I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it could also just be showing the trade history below the comments or something like that. It was just a thing that suddenly came to mind now.
Yeah, I recall that with all of the preparation and stuff. It just it was like one of things I also recall, but didn't get to it yet. Thanks for pointing it out.
How do I need to sign up, or how do I comment on a launch?
Yeah, you would need to sign up. I think it worked without it, but it should verify and do some sign of the wallet, as we supposed to limit comments per wallet as well.
Is there a profile for the creators, for example? Can you click into Fun Test Fund 1.1 and then see the rest of the tokens he has created?
No, it goes just to wax blocks at the moment. We'll have it's not finished yet here, but we'll have tokens created by user when you go into your profile. But basically, it's definitely can be changed, so anyone can look into creator as we have this page.
Yeah, I think that is an important feature as well. Even though people can, of course, always just create a new account to create something for the first time, then at least it slightly inhibits the scenario of one guy creating 100 meme coins and just rugging them all, and people continuing going into the same guy's stuff. Except, I mean, the name can perhaps also be recognizable. Is the creator name also on the front page?
Even here?
No, I mean on the yeah. Okay, cool.
I like that comment in particular about the creators, because that's some part of due diligence people often do. Another question I often get confronted with is it's deemed very important by developers. Any plans to open source the UI and the contract once you are done with it? Or will it remain in a closed source?
Well,
we're not really talking about ownership, but the ability to collaborate.
I think at some point it might go open source. I'm not sure when, like it will be at this stage to be done. We sent some parts of source code to Wax team to have a look, and to other like reviewers. But yeah.
Wonderful.
Does it have it has the how it works, but does it have a guide for how to get started on Wax?
Guide. So we have this guide right now. It's already kind of published. Basically walks through all of the process. But yeah, we do plan, and that's still in development. We do plan to have a section or a Git book or just dynamic pages that will explain, that will have all of the things related to the project, and also wax, like how to create wallets and stuff like that. So yeah, just take a bit more time to compile everything in one place and be like one place for that. Because Medium will be just updating with different stuff, events and updates. But yeah, we'll have one place as documentation and some guide.
Was this test platform available somewhere for trying out ourselves or exploring a bit? I don't.
A link?
Yeah, I can't find it on wax.fun at least.
Yeah, it's testnet wax.fun, but it may turn like go up and down as we do some updates right now. So I didn't want to post it like in public chat yet. There might be several changes until we leave it for some time. I mean on testnet, and then while we switch to mainnet.
Was another question, right? Or was it my mistake? Oh no, comment. Okay. That was the link was posted in the chat. It's testnet.wax.fun.
Yeah, feel free to use. Just as I say, it might go offline, then you just won't see the tokens here. It won't load. So as we do some splitting backend and optimization, and then we will just move on mainnet.
Great. If the community has any further feedback, remarks, or requests for collaboration, where do we send them?
Yeah, very happy to collaborate with like everyone from the community and from the guilds overall with project or product ideas. We want to push, like there have been some ideas shared by Wombat team. We had several calls as well. They will be also promoting us. Yeah, we want to talk to like collection creators and see how we can, have them to basically create their own meme coins if they want to associate somehow with collections or not. We may also do some events, like mutual events, even some airdrop, some of coins if you manage to do that, or to users, or to NFT specific NFT collection owners. Like NFT owners of specific collection. That's something in plans in the future once we go to full launch.
Very nice. Any other comment, feedback, insight, anything you want to share on wax.fun? Asking the community. Doesn't look like. Thank you very much, Oleh.
I have a last question or comment. Does the website or front page there update if something changes? Like, does it update periodically?
Yes, it is. Well, there will be another mode when they also will be showing the like more active tokens, so they will be popping up like in other platforms. So it will be when something buying is like for more than certain amount of wax, it will be like default and kind of featured sorting mechanic. And it will like be more dynamic. But overall, yeah, it should update here on some periodic. These internal pages are updating. They are supposed to update the overall, like they're reading the histories, the holders, the chart. I'm not sure why the full chart is not working, but others had to work. I mean, on real time, there is this like WebSocket and some connected here. So yeah.
I see there's a little fee on every pump or transfer. How or where does that fee go to?
You mean when the user is paying for transaction?
Yeah, for every buy or sell, you have like a...
Yeah, it's 1%. It goes as a commission to the project.
All right.
Yeah. It's pretty much the same model as others.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. Like if we have to compare this in usage for something like a token created on... Wait, this fee is only till it's bonding, right? So if it requires $10,000 at 5 cents per wax, that's 200,000 wax. So 2,000 wax in platform fees to buy it up before the fee sent. So 2,000 wax to create a token that goes beyond like the bonding. So in reality, it's like 4 times cheaper at least to create the token somewhere else, perhaps. That's something to consider.
Yeah. I think it's, the thing about that is mainly one thing is can be cheaper, another is, people mostly, there are like many tokens that are living within the bonding curve, so there are lots of strategies people are trying to trade within that, but overall the target is of course to go beyond this bonding curve.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, paying 1% to the platform for every trade quickly makes it a little bit... I mean, you really need to pump it to make a profit. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Appreciate all the feedback, and also thank you very much for the demo, Oleh. You said there is a Wax Twitter space happening tomorrow where you will talk more deeply about it.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks
for the launch.
Great questions and suggestions.
And Oleh is always around in the governance channel, Wax.io unofficial channel. His Telegram handle is FreezePro. In case you have some more feedback. No King is raving. I like that. I'm going to stop the recording for this demo and start a new one for the following agenda. But what are we talking about next? Any suggestions?
Aren't I going over the election? Is that am I just wasting my breath, or?
No, you're not. You're doing it right. So we currently have Wax OIG elections going on. You can view the current election data on oig.wax.io. Just click the navigation, governance, and then OIG election on the right side. This is the 10th OIG election to decide the 11th OIG. KFAR is being replaced, or maybe not. The nomination, okay. I think I will do a short screen share and show the profiles of the candidates. I think that's a good thing to do. So this is the OIG website, governance election. You can log in with your wallet on the top right, blue button, access. There's a short text about what is expected of a candidate, what the role is, and what job skills you should bring to the table. And also at the bottom, we have the timeline, which is that the nominations concluded a day ago. And now we have a short voting period from December 10th to 13th. We have 3 candidates, and we've seen them all before. Since it's a random order whenever I load it, starting left to right, we have Henrik here with a long description about his journey on Wax, what his experience is in our ecosystem, and what he would focus on during the next 18 months if he was to be elected as an IG. And we also have Kaz Hashemi, better known as T-Break, with a deep love for video games and Path of Exile. He has also been around for a very long time. He was also a runner-up on the last election, and we are currently seeing his description. I think I'll give a chance to the candidates to introduce themselves in 3-4 sentences. And also KFAR, you know him. He's been on Wax for 7 years in IG now. He's also giving us a outlook on what he will try to achieve on his next tenure. Okay, starting left to right, I'll hand over to Henrik to introduce himself to us. Go ahead, Henrik.
Okay, hello, I'm Henrik, often known as Piga around the ecosystem. I'm the creator of the Pixel Journey project, and yeah, I've been around the ecosystem for about 3-4 years now, and I have enjoyed following around all the different developments in the Wax ecosystem, and often some of the governance parts of it as well. I've been an avid participant in these calls for about a year, I guess, and I've been very interested in taking the step further and either maybe becoming a guild directly or now taking this term in the office. So if you vote for Piga, then I don't know, I'll stay around for at least 18 months more, and then afterwards maybe we turn the Pixel Journey into a guild.
So whatever the result of the election will be, you will be around, it sounds like.
Yeah, basically.
Cool. Then we have Kaz. How would you describe yourself and what you will try to achieve as an IG on Wax?
Yeah, right on. Yeah. So my name's Kaz, as been mentioned. Most of y'all here already know who I am and what I do. I'm only seeing a couple new phases, Techno King and P Diddley, but everyone else, you guys already know who I am and what I'm about. So the thing that I want to say is that I think there's a lot that can be done in fundamentally improving the OIG and improving how you guys, or what your experience is as a guild. Because ultimately this job isn't, you know, this role isn't about doing like doing the heavy lifting or making, you know, any like heroic changes, right? It's about making sure everyone's a happy camper and your efforts and contributions are being properly evaluated, and looking at the rubric, the metrics that currently exist and how the OIG process is. And like, for context, in case you didn't know, I've been Raikkonen's assistant for the past few months, doing the guild evaluations on the infrastructure side of things. So I'm very aware of how it runs as far as like the infra goes. Still got a couple more things to learn in terms of like well, how products are actually evaluated. But in terms of like infrastructure, like I understand the scoring system. I get how all of this works. There's a lot of fundamental flaws here, right? There's a lot of fundamental flaws. The fact that, well, if you are running an invaluable service, such as like, I don't know, infrastructure, APIs, things of that sort, you aren't being recognized for the consistency over a long period of time. You aren't being recognized for the quality of the service that you're providing. It's only being recognized, oh, is this on or is this off? That doesn't make sense to me, especially if you've been, you know, if you're providing like an endpoint for years that everyone uses. How can you be getting the same amount of points as a guild that just showed up last week and they just have it on? No one knows about the guild. No one knows about their endpoints other than the OIG and themselves. No one's using those endpoints, but you guys are getting the same points. That just doesn't make sense to me, right? I look at the product contributions as well. It's like, how can knowledge that's being shared and guides, how can that have a decay rate, right? If you're parting knowledge and that knowledge is up to date, if you delivered software and it's doing exactly as it's supposed to do, how can that have a decay rate, right? Like, knowledge is forever. As long as that knowledge is still relevant, you know, it's not for outdated software. If it's still like a well-maintained, you know, encyclopedia of like that shouldn't have a decay rate, you know. And the current system, it's scrutinizing you too harshly on products. It's like very meticulously dissecting products, but then it's not really doing that for an infrastructure, you know. I think it could be improved quite a bit. I think there's a lot of things that, you know, and not to like, it's not like this is on the OIG entirely. This is more so like, as an outsider looking at this, it's like there's a lot of ways that this system can be improved. And that's what I love doing. I love complex systems. I love optimizing them and improving them. And I mean, if I was officially on, you know, as an IG, if I was officially on board, you better believe I'm going to make some changes to make sure that you guys are being evaluated more aptly and recognized for your efforts. Because right now it's simply not doing that as well as it can be. Now, part of my proposal is that I'm more than happy to break bread with Kafer, because I mean, I recognize that he's been here for a long time. He practically came with Wax. He's part of the matrix. He's part of blockchain. You know, he's put a lot of time, and that tenureship, like, I just think he's an invaluable asset, and it just doesn't make sense to me that that it has to be one of us or the other. You know. And so I'm more than happy to I mean, like, I think $30,000 a month for the 3 IGs is a tremendous amount of money, you know. It's a lot of money for 3 wise guys, and I think in this economy you can easily get 4 for that much money. And you know, furthermore, it's like there's a sort of, well, expectation that the IGs have of all the guilds, where you're being evaluated every 2 weeks, and if your API is down for 16 hours, any of them, it will drop below 95% SLR, and you will be docked on your pay. Every 2 weeks, your performance is being monitored and reviewed on your infrastructure, and same with your products. You got to keep giving reviews and updates and whatnot. What about the OIG though? Who holds them accountable, right? If you think that maybe one of them is not doing anything, you have no idea what they do all day. How is that how is that? How are they held accountable in any capacity, right? It's an awful lot of money, and quite frankly, it's a very comfortable job. It's a very cozy position, right? And you don't, like, once you're elected, you don't have to worry about anything. You just have it. You just have the position for the next 18 months. Relax, right? And I think that something that could be done is that, well, the same way that the OIG is evaluating guilds should be evaluating the OIG. There should be, like, we can look on a track record of any of these guilds and justify the payments on any monthly basis as to, well, why did we pay all these guilds? Oh, how many points did they get? What did they actually do in any given 2-week cycle? You cannot do that for the OIG. You have absolutely no idea what's happening. There's apparently been meetings between the OIG and the wax team, and I thought that part of responsibility was that the OIG is supposed to communicate what happens in these meetings to all the guilds. I've heard notions that, back in the day, the wax team would just directly communicate with the guilds, but that's kind of like it's faded away, and I haven't really seen that, at least in this governance and in these kind of meetings, right? I just haven't really seen that a whole lot these days. But apparently there are meetings between the wax team and the OIG, and that information, there's no transcripts of it. There's no communication of what really happens in these meetings, right? There's a lot of darkness here, right? Not in like a foreboding sense, but it's like a bit of a lack of clarity, lack of transparency, And if we have, because like ultimately this is, whichever, and there's nothing wrong with it, whichever way you want to look at it, there's nothing wrong with how wax is operating things, because I don't think it's like that's not the issue. It's more so that, well, we just don't know what's happening. We're just kind of left in the dark, and I believe it is the responsibility of the OIG to know what's happening and try to communicate that. Right? There are meetings taking place, that is for sure, but we have absolutely no idea what's happening. And so, yeah, ultimately, if you guys, if you want to look at it from this perspective, every month $30,000 is being paid for the services of the OIG, at least bare minimum. Do you feel that you are being compensated for that expenditure, for that inflation? Because that's where it's coming from, right? You guys are effectively the guilds. This is. It's kind of like your tax dollars, if you want to look at it like that, right? Do you feel that you are getting that value in the services that they are providing? If you think they are providing that value, then vote for Kafer. If you would like to see some change, then vote for me. And you'll get me and you'll get Kafer if Kafer approves. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anders has a comment on that.
Yeah, I have a question. If Kafer accepts that, how would that work? Because this is your idea, how would that work in practical sense for the OIG being 4? Are you 1 or are you 4? Like, is it still 3 people, or do you and Kafer count as 2, so it's 4 people? So we have had a double team before, but they counted as 1 when they were doing reviews.
It would well, the reviews, it's not that much work. It's quite quick as far as the infrastructure reviews go. I still have to learn about the product reviews and more, look into that a little bit more and actually understand what actually happens during like a moving day doing that role. But if all of the responsibilities, as in like a weekly schedule, were outlined, it'd be a lot easier to know what is the load of work that needs to be split apart here. Obviously, like when it comes to stuff like meetings, like we can't. I don't know how we would split the work on a meeting, right? Unless like one of us joins it and the next week someone else, the other one joins. Like, so I think the meetings are the only thing that's like kind of a bit difficult to split up, unless if there's like a lot of so the meetings are the only thing that's kind of tough to split, but otherwise everything else can be split, right? Right now, the way the guild evaluations work, or at least for the infrastructure, is that there's a script that picks all of like who does which guild, and then you evaluate the guilds on every 2 weeks, and then you do the guilds that someone else evaluated as well. So you review them, you double check them, and so we could split it up whichever way. I think the workload it can absolutely be carried out by multiple people.
Yeah, there were also claims that it could be fully automated at some point. However, with some software components in the ecosystem being prone to incidents and issues at times, there just doesn't happen a single tech review where you don't have to judge a infrastructure setup not only based on SLR or availability or uptime, especially, for example, with Hyperion, right? You will need to look at missing blocks transactions from the past, compare it to other guilds. At times be a little bit graceful because it was a network-wide incident. So there's still some subjectivity to the tech reviews. Anders?
Yeah, I have one question that's probably even more important for the OIG. Have you finished Act 3 in Path of Exile 2 yet?
Of course. Have you?
Almost. Just finished Viper last night.
Oh yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I'm crushing through maps. I've got a pretty OP build here. Yeah, I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you a bit later. Great game though. Great game. Highly recommend it.
It struck me a little bit that you said some of the comms we have with the Wax team happen in the shadows, while I also had a case last week where I needed to decide, okay, is that so important that you will put that into an official governance channel message, or did you resolve someone's request to get an answer from the Wax team? And ultimately, I got that answer, but it wasn't relevant for a governance channel group to post it in there because just speaking from the content, it was an uncertain outcome, right? It was about some Wax bridges being open sourced at some point, so others could deploy them on their own or something else. And there is no definite answer to that, so it's not really worth a governance channel message, but that person that inquired me to ask that to the Wax team, he got his question back in the DM.
I would say it's still relevant. And the unclear information is still information. It's good to know that we don't know if it will be open source or not. That's still relevant information.
Yeah, but sometimes as an IG, you also hope to see more interest or more inquiries of such a type. Just be assured that if a question is asked repeatedly on a governance channel, it will be forwarded 100%, and there will be an answer back, right? But if someone inquires you with something like that, and it's uncertain, it's just another information that half of the people in the group will read and will make no sense of it, and the other half will probably ignore it. So
I don't agree there. It was a question in there. I think it's still relevant, and I think being uncertain is still not a no and not a yes. Yes, so I think it's relevant for more people. In all channels on Telegram, there's a lot of lurkers reading and digesting information that might not participate, but they are still there to get the information. I think all info that can be shared is good info to share. Doesn't have to be a book written on everything, but a summary of whatever has been discussed and what can be shared is always great, I think.
I second that sentiment. It's not about the deliverance of like some profound wisdom from the Wax team, but just a streamlined flow of just anything, just communication from them would be amazing.
Yeah.
And even like something like a short excerpt, a transcript of just the discussions. Well, what was actually like discussed on any given meeting, what progress was made, because I mean, sometimes here on these governance meetings, we spin in circles, but at least we know when we're spinning in circles. We know we have odds of it. People talk about it, right? We don't know anything about what happens in these meetings, and I'm not trying to crucify any of you guys, any of the current IGs, like as if like you aren't doing enough or whatever, because that's not what I'm trying to go at here. I'm trying to just highlight the things that can be improved. I know that's like, it's tough criticism. I know it can be harsh, but it is because I think it's, we got to work, like, no pun, but you got to work on like the weakest link in the chain,
Yeah, you're right. And I pair that comment with Ross's comment from last week that he would like to have some representative of the Wax team with us on roundtables, occasions to talk to the team and what they're currently working on, or advices for, I don't know, further strategy.
Absolutely.
But also be sure we would never hold back a nice message that we shall direct at you. So
just let me jump quick in here because this annoys me a bit. Just responding to the calls we have with the Wax team. So yes, we have a call with the Wax team every 2 weeks, but it's a 30 minutes call where we update the Wax team on what we have been doing, and the Wax team updates us occasionally on what they're doing. So this is not something that's directed at the community or the guilds, and not everything that is shared with us is for the public, because there is stuff that is under NDA, because all the IGs are under NDA. And if the guilds, the Wax team shares information with us, what their sometimes are long-term plans or what they're working on currently, not everything of that is supposed to be public knowledge, because it's not the time for that to be released at the time that it's been talked about. So there can't be transcripts simply of this, and everything we tell the Wax team in these update calls is stuff we gather from the community or we give back to the community in communication. So everything that we talk about with the Wax team that is supposed to be known is already known, because we talk about what we do, and everything we do as IGs is out in public. So riding back and forth on these 30-minute meetings is a bit abstruse. So yes, it would be better, it would be great to have more direct communication with the guilds and the Wax team, or for the Wax team to be more public, but that's not part of what's happening between the OIG and the Wax team. So this would be something else we would have to incentivize and put up, but that's not part of the OIG. That's something, if the Wax team wants to do it, they can do it. And we can't decide that. We don't have any influence on that. The Wax team does what the Wax team wants. That's how it has always been. And that won't change with a different IG.
Absolutely. Well, I think, I think that absolutely. Definitely limited in capacity, and I get the position that you're in. But if these meetings are happening every 2 weeks, like not a direct, verbatim transcript. I think the term transcript might have been the wrong word. But maybe just like some semblance of like what did you guys even talk about? Yes, if it's something under an NDA, an upcoming product, a plan or something, like sure, maybe that doesn't have to be discussed, but just some semblance of like, well, today we talked about the weather. We talked about getting 24-inch rims on the bends, like, anything, right? It doesn't have to be something of like, again, like profound wisdom, but just something of any level of substance. People know that efforts are still being put into this chain. It doesn't, I used to think that when it comes to like products, you have to like constantly tell people why it's so amazing and why it's so great and all the things that it can do that no other product can do. A lot of times you just need to remind people that the product even exists, that it's still there, because people forget. People forget, and just constantly just being like, hey, yeah, we're still here. We're still putting in the effort. There's still work being done here. Don't worry.
Yeah, and that's why we have these bi-weekly calls. That's why we have now weekly evaluation updates, all that stuff. So
definitely in the right direction, but yes.
So a year ago or 1.5 years ago, we didn't have roundtables. We didn't have Lucas on a quarterly basis with us on a roundtable to talk about what he's working on Wax. We even managed to have Jesse once on a community call to talk about that side. So there were clearly some initiatives that tried. So that critique, it's not new. We've had that 18 months ago or whatever it is. Ever since we started those initiatives to improve that part of the situation, and it has become increasingly harder to manage that feedback when we're meeting often and we talk openly about things, right? We never had that before. It was just pain and painful messages on some governance channel and then some response to it. And now we are meeting and we're talking about things.
Step in the right direction. And you did that, Reiken, the governance meetings, right? I mean, that was your initiative, right?
Yeah, it was called for long, but I just hosted them and then
put in the effort, though, right? The consistent effort, and the payout is that we got a nice little therapy group here, right?
Yeah, but it's not like I don't identify any critique in what you said. So still room for improvement, but at the same time, I doubt it will help us a lot at the moment.
There's always room for improvement. That's why we have been changing and improving the system constantly. I think it's not that there is nothing being done, and I think the system has improved a great deal and is still improving. And a lot of the things Kaz mentioned in the beginning seem simplified. Things are not the way they are because we want them to be, because they are the way because it's the only feasible option we have. So we want to put more emphasis on if an endpoint is actually used and how much it is used. And that's why we actually credit points to guilds beyond just providing infrastructure if we know they have redundant infrastructure that is heavily used and always available. It's not that everybody is getting the same points just for providing infrastructure. Sweden, for example, that have multi-layered Hyperion endpoints with partial and full, they're getting bonus points for that. Michael from Wax USA, who is providing direct peering to projects for free, is getting extra points for that. Guilds that develop endpoints and provide them are getting extra points for that. And this goes through the entire roster of guilds. So it's not that you can just spin up the endpoint and get the same points as everyone else. There's still subjectivity in it. And the workload is tremendous if we would want to do it right, and also want to do more than just the minimum what was required by you by holding the office. So can more be done? Yes, of course. But yeah, it's not about just wanting change, it's making change possible. And that is a slow process. And that's not something that can be done in a day. and that won't change with just wanting to do it. And
I must say also I want my old job back, because at some point in the role of an AG was only to review guilds, and I think we grew our responsibility by a lot, and that was also by competition in the office, or with every election popping up new demands and new critiques, right, and trying to solve them. Yeah, the responsibilities grew over the last 2 years.
Definitely, the responsibilities grew, and also the workload is constantly growing. So it's true that the tech reviews are not that much work, because we now have great tools to do them. And in my opinion, it should be even less work, because much more of this can be automated if we have better tools. And this is something I really want to have. I want to decentralize the infrastructure evaluations and take them essentially mostly out of the control of the OIG. There should not be much subjectivity in it. But the infrastructure evaluation is not where the work is. The work is putting together the guidelines the infrastructure evaluation are based on, applying this, controlling this. But most importantly, the product evaluations is where the majority of the work is. That's why infrastructure evaluations is essentially 2 days, while product evaluations is an entire week. And this product evaluation is not, the scoring is happening in this week, but the load of what is required to do this evaluation within this week goes beyond that. So as I also wrote, the infrastructure evaluation is maybe 10% of the work, if at all, probably less. That's why it's possible for Rockaden to source it out to you, to allow you to learn the ropes, because it's something that is rather easy to do and can be learned. The product evaluations is a different story, because there's so much subjectivity on it. We all need to agree on it. So the last 2 days alone, I think we had 6 hours, maybe 7 hours of calls just talking through products for this 2-week cycle that we have to evaluate. And we're not done yet. We have another call maybe tonight and probably tomorrow. And then we're still a couple days from Friday where we will push the final scores. So don't underestimate the workload just because you've done some infrastructure evaluations.
Fair enough. And yeah, it makes sense in terms of because the infrastructure can be pretty much entirely automated. That is well within the realm of possibility. But as far as like product evaluations, there's a lot of inconsistencies. Even in terms of how points are given out for infrastructure. You know, like for example, you have the whole 95% SLR thing. Right. The problem here with a 95% SLR is that, well, that's an arbitrary number, 95%. Within a 2-week moving period, that ends up being about 16 hours. So if you have an API that just goes down and it's like the end of the day for you, near the end of the day, you have to work overtime, get it fixed, right? Get it up and running, or else if you just, you take 8 hours, the day off, at the end of the day, you enjoy yourself, you shower, you eat, whatever. And then you 8 hours sleeping, and then you wake up. By the time you even start working on fixing it, well, your pay has effectively been docked. You've already lost the points. And right now, with by my estimates, each one unscaled point, or 12 full points, it's about $500. It's like $500 to $600.
I see it is the other way, by the way. Now you only have 2 weeks until you're rated again.
Yeah, exactly. You only have 2 weeks until you're rated again, so your pay is only docked for 2 weeks. So it's half of that. Yeah. So it's only 200 something. And then you have to factor in that when we introduced these endpoint ratings, we expected there to be redundancies. So there was not supposed to be just one endpoint. There was supposed to be load balancing redundancies in place that avoid these downtimes. So, and we don't have as we stated in the past, if guilds bundle together and say, hey, here, if we have a downtime, we load balance against each other, so we ensure this endpoint is available, that's also fine with us. We just want the service to be reliable.
I agree, and fundamentally, there's nothing wrong with that. But the issue is the 95% number, because that's not how APIs land. Either it's like 99 to 100%, where it's like there was like maybe a slight error, or it was just perfect uptime. There was downtime, but it was fixed within a day, where 16 hours is just sometimes it's enough, sometimes it's not. So you end up having maybe like 96%, but it goes all the way down to 92%. Right?
Actually, what we wanted to have is what we're aiming for is having 99%, but we made it 95 to not judge too harshly, because we know it's sometimes one-person teams. But what we're aiming for is to have these 99 to 100% uptime, but we decided to go down to 95 to leave people room for error.
Fair enough. And I think it should go down to 92%, because if it's at 92%, 1 day is 7%. 24 hours is about 7.14%. And so if you have at 92% SLR, that means you have 1 day to at least fix this. You don't have to do overtime right now, otherwise your pay is getting docked. You know what I mean?
I think it should be fixed directly.
Within minutes, in times of alerts and all that stuff.
Within hours, at least.
I see the point that it catches you when you are asleep. I see that point totally, but
it's just too punitive, and it's very unlikely that, because it's overall, it's not like you're seeing like the same API every 2 weeks. It's down for a whole day. Like, that's not what usually happens. Usually it's like you have like great uptime for a consistent period once everything's properly set up, and then you have that one off day, something happens.
Actually, what we see is that we have the same guilds that repeatedly have problems, while most guilds run fine for the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why the system is as is, because most guilds are able to provide the service in quality, while we have individual guilds that constantly fail. And these are usually also the guilds that don't have as much load, because they're not as known, or because their performance is not as good, or their reliability is not as good, where requests time out more often, and so on and so on and so on.
Like we had last night. We had some timeouts last night for some requests in our monitoring, because we had a massive spike that pushed our average request to 3,300 per second for the last 7 days. And most of that push was last night. We had I restarted the proxy, and in less than a minute we had over 100,000 new requests.
And then again,
it was insane.
That's insane.
Yeah, this is botnets, of course, and yeah.
No, go on. Sorry.
No, I just mean that you can't accept too much downtime, because that's part of the work. That's what you should be doing. You should have monitoring on. You should be doing things, but stuff can happen, and having this window is actually very lenient right now. The monitoring of API is basically why I mentioned the traffic, is that it's more difficult than just having the downtime. It can be other things that are an issue as well.
Fair enough. If that is if there is a divide between, well, like if it's clear and cut, well, which guilds are consistently providing excellent API endpoints, great uptime, massive load bearing capabilities, and then other guilds are not doing that, there should be maybe like a third like little metric here, okay, for just infrastructure.
Yeah, we would like to have performance-based ratings where we can actually evaluate the queries that I go through, so we know how much load these are able to handle, how they handle the load. The problem is we can't do that because we don't have access to the machines. So we would have to rely on what is reported to us, and we can't do that because we can't verify, and we can't judge what we can't verify. And that's why the system currently is as is, and that's why I have been wanting to have a global load balancing system where we can essentially have all the public APIs behind a set of endpoints where we have access to the load balancings and know what's going on where, and know which endpoints do deliver a good service and which don't. And then we could give out scores based on that.
Sounds like a dream. Sounds like a dream. And I understand the difficulty in making that happen. I do. I know it's practically impossible with the current limitations of because any metric that you make that's going to evaluate people is going to be gamed by people. Yeah. And yes, you can, if you have an API, we're going to say, well, the top the top 5 APIs or the top 5 guilds are providing the most highest quality service. Well, they'll just run scripts on their own APIs, right? I get it.
And we have guilds that have amazing uptime, have amazing reliability, serve millions of requests per day. And then we have guilds that already run into trouble just because the validation tools are sending requests. So
That's true.
Complicated. It's complicated.
It is. And it feels like this is something that it kind of goes beyond the scope of just points. It almost feels like there should be like just another like pseudo thing, like currency that should be awarded, like more like like a gold star or like a brownie point or something.
Yeah, that's what we do with granting extra points, for example, to Enders or Sweden, that is, and others.
I mean, if you think about it, and if you would say, okay, never lost a round in the last 6 months or never lost a round in the past 12 months, the network never stops. And then an incident happens and a tornado just kills your servers off and you lose 100 rounds. And then the automation tells the chain, this is not a reliable node operator. I don't think it will serve us well if we automate it fully without any reviewing.
I think the topic of automation, I mean, automation is meant to be more so just a tool to assemble just like the starting point of all this data, right? Do a quick, gather all this data for like a 2-week period, and then we evaluate that. Because as it is right now, it's like we're just looking at it one by one at all these different tools that have been made by the community to evaluate all the endpoints and stuff. I don't think automation. I think it's a bit of a slightly different topic. And also, acts of God exist too. If you have like your house is insured for I don't know, you have like in general, if a volcano erupts, the insurance company is not paying out for that. If half the city's gone, so. Kafer, would you like to? Because we never really properly got. We were doing just the introductions to each of the candidates. So would you like to properly share your thoughts on your candidacy?
I was considering to do that on Thursday because I'm down sick, but I don't feel like turning on the camera today. But I think I've made my point clear how I stand, that I think there's always stuff to improve, and that I've been constantly improving the situation and always have the best interest of all the community members at heart. And that means developers, project leads, guilds, and token holders, and the Wax team. And I think that's what I'm standing for. I stand for the best interest of the community and try to be always unbiased. And I think that's one of my biggest strengths, that I always stay unbiased as far as it's humanly possible. No matter what people throw at me, no matter what they tell me, no matter what they do, I always try to evaluate them from a neutral standpoint. So everybody that's going against me, even if I win, I'm totally fine with that. And if you want to vote for Kaz, vote for Kaz. I'm fine with that. And if Kaz loses and I win, that's fine with me. I mean, whoever you voted for is fine with me. And I think, yeah.
Well, for you, it's a win-win, right? I mean, if I win, you also win too, right? Would you?
I'm not
accept?
sure if that works because you can't split the work 50-50. Like 80% of the work is stuff you can't really split. There is some grunt work you can split. And the problem is I split that already. I have also, like you work with Raketen, I have my assistant Nick, who's working with me. So I already irrigate a lot of the grunt work I do.
Nick Custers or another Nick?
No, another Nick.
Okay, okay.
So that makes the situation a bit complicated. And also, yeah, this would means I would have to take up other work while not being able to hand over 50% of my work as IG, and that is complicated. No, it's
Are we talking about another seat? Are we talking about another seat on the OIG?
No, we're talking about Kaz and me forming a team if Kaz is winning.
Ah, okay.
So,
because Kaz just mentioned another seat on the OIG.
Oh, maybe I missed that.
No, I was talking about
it is intro.
Yeah. You know, yeah. I would have to see if I can make that possible because, yeah, I have to have a full-time job. I have a family at home, and doing the same job on half the pay is hard. It's already at the stage where the IG job is, I do it out of passion, and I think people know that. I do it because I value the community, I value the ecosystem, and I'm so deeply invested because I have been here from the beginning. I have been with Wax, the team and the community longer than most people that work at Wax. So yeah, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, sorry, I lost myself. I said
I hear you, man. I hear you. Absolutely. I'm well, I don't have a well, I'm only 25. You have more experience than I've been alive, right? In IT. So I don't have a family that I have to feed, but I would say I'm just as committed. I dropped out of school and literally have been working day and night for the past few years on nothing other than just on my own project and just getting to the point of actually being competent.
Yeah, for me it's a bit more complicated because I have not really worked on my own projects. I have, for the past 7 years, I have only worked essentially on Wax. Like nothing else. I've been only working on Wax. That's why I also said I'll probably not run again after this election if I win. This will be my last tenure. Because at some point I need to do something else. Maybe outside of Wax, maybe inside of Wax, but maybe doing something of my own. I love being in IG and I love doing the work, but I think I could do much more in different positions when the time is right. And at some point I want to do my own projects, and I just don't have the time and capacity to do my own projects while being in IG because it's a ton of work.
Is there anyone else here present that wants to join the discussion? Anything you want to know from your current or future IGs? Anything you're curious about? The job, the mission?
It's been a nice call, but I got to drop.
Yeah, I'm curious what people think about Wax Labs and what should be recommended by the OIG to Wax Labs.
Yeah, that topic we have touched a couple of times. I think we agreed that Labs does work, but not fully as we want it to work. So I think the public consent was we need to redefine Wax Labs.
Yeah, so I was thinking from the candidate standpoint, like if there's anything they would do specifically.
Oh, okay.
But
I think the most important part is the Wax. The OIG has no control over Wax Labs. We have no way of making decisions there. So everything we want to change with the Wax Labs, we have to discuss with the Wax team and convince them to make the change. And we got them to the point that we will probably and hopefully go down the path of making a sort of foundation light, where first of all, people will be able to vote again on proposals, and only then a collection of guilds, the OIG and the Wax team, will decide on which of these projects are being taken on. And I think that would improve the whole flow of evaluations and also the publicity of these, not the evaluations of Wax Labs, because when people have to vote on proposals before they get out, then it means people that are proposing stuff have to actively promote them. And I think that's something that's currently really, really missing from Wax Labs. We see guilds, people proposing stuff on Wax Labs, but they never promote it. They don't promote it before they launch it, and then they don't promote it after it's done. And this, to me, is a huge problem. Most people don't even know what has been done on Wax Labs. And that's, to me, is even worse than how much time the reviewers are taking.
I agree. And I think that issue, the lack of almost, I want to say, like exhibition, almost display, like that doesn't just stop at Wax Labs. It also kind of applies to a lot of the guilds. Notion is it's a bit clunky to like look through, and it's like it doesn't really there's no wow factor when you're looking at all the things that like even the guilds do. And so I wish there was like some way on the Wax website or just on any website, maybe even attached to OIG, you could have like a display, kind of like a carousel or something, just a show. Yeah, look at this contributor. Look,
Wax Dabs. We have Waxzilla. But yeah,
Waxzilla show
would be better.
From my point of view, then I entirely agree. I would love to see more Wax Lab proposals in general. I would love to see more successful lab and sustainable, like long-term Wax Lab proposals actually happening out there. And I think, of course, I would love to see the whole mini light Wax Labs or community council or whatever it was. But we could also help the Wax Labs a lot and just maybe clearer defining what the requirements are for a proposal to be considered acceptable, and make it clearer what type of projects might be able to put in what types of proposals. Because, for example, something like making a marketing proposal, which I have now learned in the past months might be a doable thing, is something that basically every project in the Wax ecosystem probably doesn't know either. So we could probably be better at communicating and clarifying these things a little bit more. And then by that, streamlining the whole proposal rating and review process as well, and eventually getting more successful proposals run through.
All great ideas. Thank you. By the way, while we have a moment, I wanted to introduce you to Techno King, who we've mentioned before, but he did join us today to see the presentation. He comes to us from Solana, has a team of 19, I believe, and has successfully worked on some projects in Wax and for some people in the community. Was one of the winners of our Interplanetarian Conference Hackathon. And so feel free to reach out and say hello and encourage them on Wax. He came and learned a lot. He was introduced to us by Jungle Tracker, who you may remember is an early EOS person from Block 1 at one point, and active member of our communities. So welcome, Techno King, and everyone feel free to reach out and say hi.
Thanks for the introduction. It's nice listening to you guys.
No new topic? I'd love to hear more from guilds, how they see the evaluation by the OIG and how they feel about the new changes with being able to submit bi-weekly and everything. Because we haven't really gotten much response on that.
I was muted. Hi, Techno King, and you can stick around on the governance channel. We're meeting every Tuesday. On Thursday, you can find all the info in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and maybe exactly Thursdays is usually our product and marketing day, so that might be more interesting to you, for you. Because Tuesdays is usually about infrastructure, about governance, things like that.
Oh yeah. This Thursday also we are having NFT battle miners. They have been around. They have been on Wax for the past 3 years, I believe so. They're building an awesome game. They are going to show a new proposal to us. So feel invited to join the Thursday roundtable. All right, back to the guilds. If you are present, do you want to comment on that? On Kefa's previous question? No?
And that's why being an IG is hard. You rarely get feedback.
Yeah, you get it more
You
spontaneous.
have probably gotten all feedback from me already.
It's often not only the feedback, because it's sometimes it gets just spontaneously loaded off on a governance channel message. And at the same time, we're meeting very regularly and we could talk about such things. Also, Michael is commenting his stance is known. Yes. Your stance is well known. What became very apparent for me as an IG for the past 3 years is that this year Wax is a pond and we have different fishes in them. And it's quite different types of fishes, and it's quite difficult to make them live in this ecosystem all together under the same rules and at the same time satisfy all of them. That's certainly the most difficult task when it comes to writing down thoughtful guidelines. Always balancing who's going to profit from it, who's going to feel punished from it. Does it help the community? Does it provide value to the community? Those are all the different questions. Even more considerations that you need to take into account when defining guidelines like we have, OIG guidelines that are applied to your guild and your business, and then you receive a score and you receive the funding. That's the most difficult part, making fair rules that accommodate everyone. It's really a difficulty.
Yeah, I can imagine also, while keeping it like entirely transparent and having the reviews public, then it's also something more to take into account. It's a little bit complicated.
It is, but I think that was a huge improvement to the system. The reports written by the guilds are public, so anyone in the community can judge by himself what a guild did, how productive it was during the last 6 weeks. And speaking of the old cycle, our reviews or the scores are happening not only as a total score on chain, but they live on the Notion in a data-rich table where you can essentially follow up on changes, see what's going to change next, compare products by category. I think this part of the work has come a long way, and it's even more transparent and comprehensible than it was a year ago. Further looking into improvements on that, but it won't be easy to have, with so many contributions, to have an extensive discussion about every product on that Notion public between IGs. It's just so much easier to speak about a product, decide on it, and then apply the change to it, right? You can't afford to comment on every single thought that you had when compiling a score for a guild. It's impossible, I can tell. But if you have any further feedback to improve the process, we are very open to such kind of feedback. What's next? Any other questions to the nominees, to the candidates of this OIG election? Okay, I guess that's it, which is probably also due to the fact that except of 2-3 new members that joined today, everyone else is pretty familiar with anyone else in this group here. If you joined the roundtables regularly, you may have seen or heard everyone here, essentially. So I think it's only natural that there are not so many questions to the candidates. I mean, we work in public; it's all comprehensible, understandable, and you can approach the candidates directly on the Wax governance channel and get in talks with them. All of them are quite happy to talk about anything on Wax. I'm pretty sure. Same as well for me. So feel free to reach out.
Quick question: where's Joseph?
I don't know. I don't have access to his calendar. I saw him earlier, but he left afterwards.
Oh, okay. That's a wild.
Yeah, we share one OIG calendar where we have our regular appointments in there, but I can't speak for him. Can't tell you. But if I look at the time, it's almost 6 p.m. in Germany. I can tell you most of my friends are busy with their family, bringing kids to sports or cooking together or whatever else it is. That's at least for my friends.
Here on the West Coast, a lot of people are sleeping. I get that a lot when I invite them. They're like, I'm still asleep at that hour. So we have to make sure they go to bed early to get here on time.
Yeah, I mean, we had a poll when we decided on what would the best time for everyone be at the beginning when we planned the roundtables, but we agreed on that time once, and I don't want to change it ever
I'm
again.
still in favor of alternating the times.
Yeah, if you get more people to rally for your cause, Käfer, I will bow for the pressure. I think we still could move it a little bit later to have the US and Canadian guys and the Brazilian guys more regularly with us. But if we do that, Ross is probably never going to join a roundtable again because it will be in the middle of the night for him. So if we move it early to have Ross and the Asian community with us, we will be a little too early for the US and Canadian guys. It's a dilemma. I don't know. I don't know what to do here. Until I see convincing arguments for a change in time, I think we're going to stick with that time.
I definitely could be merit towards having a two time cycle, but I just how often would the cycle switch be? Because if it's like every other meeting, I mean, I think people are going to be in for a world of surprise,
Yeah, okay. Honestly, that sounds like the best idea. Like every second roundtable is 2 hours later, right? That's what we are trying to do here, or 3 hours later, or whatever it is.
Could be.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's why I mentioned alternating times. Just one every second or every fourth even roundtable. Just do it at a different time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, let's start that in January. Then, what do we do with end of the year? I mean, we are okay. That probably needs to be announced too. There will be the last evaluation this year, a full review. No, a technical review, which will start on 18th of December and go until 20th, where the voting will happen for the tech review. And after that, the next voting will happen on 3rd of January. Right, Käfer? Yeah. 3rd of...
Yes, 3rd of January should be it. The Friday after New Year's Eve. Yes, 3rd of January for the tech. Because...
And there will be no voting in between. Because we don't want people to write reports on Christmas.
Well, I don't care.
Yeah.
But I heard people like their holidays.
I take it thankfully. Because we didn't have that never.
Yeah.
Never before.
No, actually, last year's we always adjusted the timelines way in advance so that we did not have reviews on Christmas. So we always did it. Just now with a 2 week 1 week schedule, essentially, we have to just skip 1 week.
Okay, I can't recall it exactly, to be honest, but it feels like a long time since I took holidays and didn't have to work inside my holiday. But it is what it is. So there will be no revoting between the 20th and 20th of December and 3rd of January. 3rd of January, there will be a new voting. Tech review is happening. Snapshot is 31st of December. So tech review will be happening between 1st and 3rd of January. And then, I also propose that we don't meet on the 31st and on the 2nd, and also don't meet on Christmas. On Christmas we don't want to meet, right? 24 and 26, Tuesday and Thursday. I don't think that makes sense. 31st too. I see that pretty stressful, but let's continue then with Thursday 2nd of January with another the community roundtable, right? Essentially skipping 24th, 26th, and 31st of December. Cool. You heard it here. Anything else before we conclude today's call?
Win Moon.
At night.
Actually, when is wax.fun launching? I didn't catch that.
If I understood correctly in the demo from Oleh today, there will be a Wax Twitter space tomorrow, where the project will at least be discussed.
Okay.
At least be discussed. I'm not sure if it's launching tomorrow.
Thank you. My guess is there may be a correlation between the answer to the question and that.
Between which question and that?
Oh, the when moon.
Ah. Yeah.
Oh, also, that's a really good topic for the press releases. Jesse, encouraged us to send over ideas for press releases. So if they haven't, maybe I'll reach out if they have to Oleh, if he's not here still, but that would be a great press release.
I have a question though. Did you work for Alien Worlds on a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation about their marketing in November?
Did I work on a PowerPoint for Alien Worlds in November?
Yeah.
A specific question. I don't think so. I haven't done much with Alien Worlds in a while.
PowerPoint. Okay.
Wasn't it a PowerPoint about onboarding?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I drafted the orientation. Yeah, the first draft of the orientation.
Okay, not that one, because we had a report from them, and there was a Google PowerPoint. I don't know what the Google product is called. A PowerPoint presentation attached to the report with the title "Alien Worlds Marketing November," and yeah.
That would be Kevin, I think, or one of his staff.
All right.
Kevin Rose. I can't afford to play Alien Worlds anymore.
Okay. Thanks everyone for joining today's roundtable. We saw an awesome demo. We had let's call it interesting talk about the OIG election. Thanks for all the feedback, Carl.